What's up, everyone? Welcome to Guapify. So at Guapify, we believe everyone deserves to feel confident and empowered when it comes to money. We know money can carry a lot of stress, guilt, even shame, especially if you weren't taught how to manage it or you're just not used to having it. So at Guapify, we talk about the truth of money, and we believe it should be a tool for freedom, not something that feels intimidating or out of reach. Our goal is very simple: to create honest conversations around money, a space where we can learn, unlearn, and grow without shame. So this is our very first Guapify conversation. I'm so excited, and we wanted to start at the source. Today, we are sitting down with our founder and CEO, CJ Harris, to talk about her why and the passion behind creating this community.
Being a producer, I'm used to being on the other side of the camera. This is a very different kind of experience for me. Guapify was birthed out of the need to fill the void because nobody was talking to Black folks about money. Guapify is the act of getting money. It's all about democratizing wealth. Guapify is a platform that houses all the Black money experts, whether your expertise is in real estate or investing or drop shipping or crypto. Whatever that is, and whatever your path to generational wealth is, you're going to be able to find a Black money expert that looks like you, that's going to share the information, but you want to gain a voice that's relatable and feels like you can actually get your guap up.
Welcome to the Guapify Conversation podcast. What's up, CJ?
Hey.
I'm so excited you're here.
Girl, this is a
CJ.
little nerve-wracking being on this side of the camera.
It's just us. We're just chilling. We're just having a conversation.
Where the drinks at?
I mean, I didn't work all that out, but I'm so excited to talk to you. You are always behind the camera, directing everything. But it's important to hear your voice, and I had to really force you to get on camera because we want to know why you started this community. I know that I personally have benefited from Guapify, but I'll hold my stories and testimonies and pleads to everyone to please join because it really has changed my life. But I want to learn a little more about how we got here. So I am absolutely putting you on the spot. I'm giving you the mic. Tell us a little bit of your story. Why Guapify?
So my story starts in the Bronx, New York. I am originally from the Boogie Down.
Yes.
Went to St. Catherine Academy, spent 4 years in Boston at BU, went to school on the basketball scholarship. My knees are the proof that I played a couple of seasons of ball in my life. But I started my career in the television business. I was a media coordinator in the library at HBO. And a media coordinator in those days meant that you were the person that was schlepping the tapes from the basement up into the studios where the producers were working. So I got it honest, as they say, because I started in the tape library and worked my way up to being an associate producer, a production associate, a coordinator, a writer-producer. And by the time I left HBO, I was a senior writer-producer.
Wow.
Worked on some pretty big campaigns, everything from Sex and the City to Project Greenlight. I did a ton of boxing promos. I did Floyd Mayweather's first boxing promo, if you can believe that. But Def Poetry became my claim to fame. I spent, I think, 3-4 seasons working on all the promos for Def Poetry, and that was a game changer. So I ended up hitting the glass ceiling at HBO and was trying to figure out what was next. And I got offered a position at BET where I became a creative director. I spent 4 years at BET working on campaigns like Black Girls Rock, Being Mary Jane. I worked on the award-winning season of The Game, TJ Holmes's talk show, TD Jakes' talk show. I worked on a ton of stuff over there, and it was an amazing experience, you know, coming from an environment like HBO where you're one of the only black people in the room and ending up at a place like BET where everybody's black. So the dynamic was a lot different. It felt much more comfortable, like you were in a safe space. So after BET, I spent some time at USA Network, which was part of the NBC family, and then I finally found myself over at CNBC, which is a business network. And one of the things that I realized while I was there was that there was a conversation that was being had about money, and it was happening at a very high level, and it didn't include people that looked like me. So the more I dug in, the more I started to feel some kind of way about people like me not having access to that type of information. So Guapify was birthed out of the need to fill that void because nobody was talking to black people about money in a way that was relatable and accessible. And, you know, we want to know how to grow and invest and transform our money and become financially free, but we didn't have a forum or a place for us to actually have those conversations. So I wanted to create a safe space for us to dialogue about money topics, everything from credit to crypto. You know, where can we ask questions, get answers, and learn to move the needle on our finances in a way that gives us actionable things that we can do to actually make a difference.
That's incredible. I don't even
That was
know.
long,
That
right?
was a lot to take in, but actually I think that people need to know your credibility and also your experience because it's dynamic. It's not your normal, I worked 9 to 5 in corporate and I became a manager and a manager's manager. You really have had a creative experience, but money has still been at the intersection of it. And when you talk about conversations around money that we were not included in, what do those conversations happen? Like, you don't have to give a full deep dive, but just at a high level, I'm curious what they sounded like.
You know, there would be things where they talk about the rate cut that be coming up, like Jerome Powell at the time would be having a rate cut, you know, conversation, and if that's going to happen, how is that going to affect all of the other things that everything from your insurance on your car rate to your, you know, the rate you're going to get on your savings account. Like, how does Jerome Powell giving us a rate cut or a rate hike affect all of those things? Like, these are things that we never talk about and we don't really know. So it's always interesting to understand the mechanics behind how things work because you know, there's a method to it, and the problem is that we're not given access to the information so that we can apply the information accordingly, and we don't know where to go to ask the questions to get the access. So we're sort of trapped in this space where, you know, we want to level up, but we don't quite know what that looks like and how to go about it. So Guapify is a space where wherever you are in your financial journey, whether you're a kid that just got out of college and you're trying to figure out what to do with your 401k, or you're someone like you that's in the process of buying their first home, or someone in my age group that's looking at a second career or retirement or transitioning into another area, there's something for everybody, no matter where you are on your journey. And there are people that have done it and that are in a position to help you avoid those pitfalls and to put you on to how to do it in a way that they wish they would have known. Because at the end of the day, we want to share information. It's about community and collaboration and helping each other level up because rising tides lift all boats.
That's a fact and a bar.
I didn't make it up.
I liked it. I don't know who did. You can give him credit, but that's powerful. And I think it really illustrates your why and the passion behind it. So I'm excited to share more about the community and how folks can get involved in the community. So coming up next, we're going to get into a little bit more about who you are. I want to share how we connected, talk a little bit about my own personal money goals and how I see Guapify supporting me in the community that we're building. So more on that coming soon. All right, so CJ, you've done more than most of us. I mean, you've probably done like 10% of what you've done, so you should feel really good about that. Are you a millionaire yet?
Am I a millionaire? That's a good question. Well, let's put it this way. When I was liberated from my job,
I like that.
I looked up and I was like, oh, I don't actually have to go back to work. So I'm doing all right.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I don't have to go back to work. I think that's what we all want to get. And it sounds like Guapify is providing tools and information to sort of give folks an understanding on how to get to that place where you're not check to check, where you understand the systems of money, because I think it's intentionally created to be convoluted, challenging to follow, credit utilization. Like there's all these defining terms. By the time you get there, you're like, I just need some money to eat, get a car. Like, so with that said, do you feel like your hope for Guapify goes beyond just creating community where we can, you know, knowledge share, but actually maybe have a course that gives guidance on how to buy your first home, how to, you know, approach credit? Do you think that's missing? Like, what are your hopes and dreams if you were to look 5 years from now at what Guapify was providing the community?
I want us to be considered the Reddit of Black wealth. You'll see communities of people having robust conversations around investing and real estate and car buying and budgeting and credit and all of the topics that we hear about, but we don't really talk about. You know, culturally, like Black folks, we don't really know money. You know, like when you think about millionaires and billionaires, we just got our first billionaire like 30 years ago with Oprah, right? Like
this is a whole fact.
Yeah,
honestly.
like the idea of money and how to use it as a tool. Like we've never been taught that.
Yeah.
So Black folks traditionally, we move out of a place of lack and struggle. We're always trying to, we just getting by.
Survival, right?
Yeah, and it's like I want Black folks to thrive, and we can if we have the information and we understand how to apply the information. So you're going to find Black money experts on Guapify where they're going to share insights around whatever their expertise is. There are so many tricks of the trade that we don't know, and the people that know it, they look like your peers and your aunties and your uncles, and they're going to give it to you in a way that you can receive it, and it's going to hit different because it's coming from your people.
Absolutely.
So we want to create a safe space where you can feel vulnerable enough to ask the right questions and to get the information that you need to move the needle on becoming financially free, because that's what we really all want, right?
Financial freedom is our only hope. Like
Financial
that's the
freedom.
goal. And to your point, as someone who's been a part of the Guapify community and has my own financial shame story, pulled myself up by my bootstraps, just Googling everything to do, when we have talked to money experts, myself, I have learned how to ask the right questions. Can you believe that just asking the question is the hard part? Sometimes you feel so silly. And even feeling the impact of being informed. When I started my journey to figuring out, do I want to buy a home? What does that look like? We talked to a guest who was a loan officer, and she made it so clear, the basics of before you even go out and start looking, you need a pre-approval. What's a pre-approval? How do you approach that? I didn't even know I needed to ask those questions, but it felt safe. I felt like I was talking to someone who wasn't saying, do you have $1 million? What's your credit like? I mean, she told me what I needed, but I also felt like she cared enough to make sure I was informed to make the right decision. And I felt empowered, and that confidence honestly gave me the momentum to say, you know what, let me pursue this.
Yeah.
So that's my personal testimony from it. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And I think we need community as a safe space to say, I'm struggling. And what about if you're balling? Like, it's not just the struggling. Let's say you came into a lot of money. You got an inheritance. You got insurance. You got a job that gave you money, but you're like, I have no idea what to do with it. I got stock. I got a bonus. That's also the hope that Guapify is going to be a community of knowledge sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? You know, our target demographic are Black millennials. And we are hyper-focused on Black millennials because they're saying Black millennials may be the first generation that doesn't surpass their parents in terms of financial achievements. I'm just saying, you know, like you said, you want to buy a house. I don't know if your mom owns a house or not, but if she does, how old was your mom when she got her house, and how old are you now? Like, there's a huge gap there, and why is that? And the millennials, you guys are a quarter of the Black population right now, the Black millennials, and you guys are the most educated of all the generations. I'm just saying, right? That's a real thing. But you have more student loan debt than your peers.
It's crushing.
Your net worth is way less than your peers. I think the average white millennial family is worth about $88,000. The average Black millennial, $5,000. Why is that? Why is there such a big gap, right? Is it because they have more access? Are they getting more information? Do we just not know where to go?
Right.
So I always say to people, you know, Black millennial or millennials are the first generation to never ride a bike without a helmet. They've never been in a car without a car seat. You guys have had your play dates set up for you. The term helicopter mom was derived because of the millennials, and now you guys need some help with your finances and your money, and that's where Guapify wants to step in to assist in a way that gives you the information so that you can apply it and level up. Because, you know, truth be told, you know, most of the interns and mentees that I've had, those guys are at six figures 10 or 20 years before it took me to get to that point.
Yeah.
So there's some people in your peer group that are making some guap, you know, but how do they make sure that when they get to the end that they're going to have enough money to sustain them for the rest of their lives? And that's the kind of conversations we want to have. Like, where should you put your money? You know, what makes the most sense? Is a term life insurance better than a whole life insurance? Like, all of the things. We want to create a space where you could get those questions answered and feel like you can do something to actually move the needle on where you are.
Honestly, I resonate with all of that as a millennial. So thank you, CJ. I thank you for creating this community. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for caring enough to be solution oriented and think about the generations to come. So this has been an incredible conversation. I'm excited for what Guapify is going to do as a whole, for the Guapify podcast, for the Guap topics. We have so much coming out for you. I hope for all of you listening that you will get involved, you will join the community. You are a part of this. We are not doing this without you. It really is for us, by us. So thank you for this conversation.
You're welcome.
Thank you for where we're going. I'm excited for the journey, and I'm excited for financial freedom.
Amen.
All right, so we're back, and actually, I wanted to catch you up, so this is a perfect place to do it. On my home buying journey, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah,
because
girl.
I can't believe. So at the top of the year, we chatted with Stephanie, who is a loan officer from Industrial Bank, which is a Black-owned bank. She is a wealth of knowledge. Loved her, and she was giving me the rundown on how you even approach home ownership or even looking into it, from your credit, pre-approval process. And it gave me a lot of confidence to say, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. So I reached out to a realtor I knew, and I shared that I was looking. So very honestly, I'm looking in Lower Westchester County, which is quite pricey in New York City, if you're familiar. And when we say quite pricey, if you're looking for a home, a single family home that probably needs some work, you're looking at $650 and up, but really like $800,000, $900,000.
Wait, $650 for a fixer-upper?
Yeah, babe. For
Wow.
fixer-upper. And I mean, fixer-upper can be relative to what you think is necessary. So maybe you can move in, but you're definitely going to be doing some renovations, right? And I believe that the market, when you're looking in Lower Westchester, is either for a very high income earner, if you are solo, or for two people who are going in on it. So there's already that outlier. So when I met with Stephanie and I felt confident to say, let me take a look into like what this journey would be, met with the realtor, I got my pre-approval. So you have to give your whole life, like what you make, your credit, anything else you have, like basically here's who I am, review it and tell me if I'm worthy of, you know, a loan.
How did you know when you guys were ready to actually take that step? Like, because you're married and you have two children. So how did that conversation turn into we're ready to buy a house?
Right. So we are in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, high-rise along the Hudson River. right next to the Metro North Station, so very convenient in Yonkers. And admittedly, we were having a lot of issues with our building. We lost our parking because they had to renovate stuff. We had hot water being turned off. I mean, it went from being like luxury to this is getting crazy. So that is, we got uncomfortable. Not just the space, but we were uncomfortable, and we were like, we need to look into actually buying a home. And so I decided to just, I kind of wear the thinking cap of, honey, I'm going to put a spreadsheet together and figure it out while you work. And I took a look at it and said, let's see what it would look like for me to buy something on my own. And I want to be honest, because that's a caveat here too. While I do come from a dual income household and we both are able to, do well, we want to have options. We want to get maybe another property and invest in it. So what would it look like for me to be able to be approved for a loan and buy a home in Lower Westchester? And it looks rough, y'all. It looks rough. I'm going to keep it real. So if you want a nice home in Lower Westchester and you want to be in a good school district, maybe it's Scarsdale, maybe it's Hartsdale, maybe it's White Plains, and let's say you have a $550 loan that you've been approved on for a single person and a single salary, right? You're probably looking first at co-ops. And co-ops are not just outright buying your home, right? You are owner of a share.
Yeah.
You're paying your communal monthly maintenance fees, which are typically $1,700, $1,800. Property taxes are high. And yes, that's covering taxes and maybe water, but you still got to live, right? Parking's usually scarce. Next up, condos. So condos, you actually own your property and you pay your HOA, your homeowners association fee. That's to make sure the grounds are kept up and, if they have a pool or anything else, like that's great. But for Lower Westchester, the prices are for 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or 3-bedroom, $500, $550, $600, $650, and you pay your mortgage, add an extra $1,200 to $1,400 a month in your HOA fees. So you could easily be in the $5,000 a month mark. Next up is a single-family home. Okay, no HOA, no monthly maintenance fees, right? But they are starting at, in a decent neighborhood, $650, $700, $750, $800. People are happy to get $900,000 home. I don't know where everyone's getting the money from, but I'm like, I just need a down payment at
What's
that.
a mortgage on a $900,000 home?
I mean, if you're not putting down $200,000, $300,000, like you have to be easily. And when I say putting down, I mean your 20% down payment.
Is that still a thing?
Ideally, you want to do 20% to avoid PMI, which is your private mortgage insurance, and that's an additional price that you pay for not putting down 20%. So they charge you every way you go, baby. Okay, they will turn you any which way but loose. So you need a little extra generational wealth.
Yeah.
So you got to take a look. You can do 3 to 5% if you get an FHA loan, or if you get what's the other one? Is it CHA, conventional home?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's ways to make it work, but you need some money to put down. You need money for closing costs. You need money to move, and you need money to live. And Lower Westchester is desired because it's really easy to get to Manhattan. You can live by the Metro North, which gets you to the city in, 25, 30 minutes. It's accessible. It's less wear and tear. So we are fighting for a lifestyle. We've built roots in Lower Westchester. But another piece I want to comment on is we have been forced to rent and to areas in Lower Westchester that don't have great schools because we were redlined. And that is a history fact.
Yeah,
I could go
girl,
on and
how
on.
much time we got?
I know. So what am I saying in totality? I'm excited about Guapify supporting me in this journey because we're going to get to talk to money experts. I'm going to learn the ins and outs about opportunities maybe I don't know of. Maybe it's a grant. Maybe it's how to approach negotiation. Maybe it's about how to sell stock to put for your down payment versus liquidating my savings, right? I think the biggest piece here is feeling like I don't know where to go because it's so much information and I've been ill-informed for so long.
Right.
But I'm feeling more empowered by accessing the information from people who not only look like me, but who've done it. And not being told, find something else, move to Poughkeepsie, move an hour and 20,
Right.
put 100,000 miles on your car just so you can have a house that's quote unquote affordable. But really figure out like what's happening here in totality and why is buying a home beneficial? Like, is it really an opportunity,
Well, one of the things they say about buying a home is that, people that are renting, they always call them, oh, you're throwing your money away. but they say that whatever your rent is, if you were to take the difference of what it would cost for your mortgage and invest that it's going to yield you the same amount of equity that your house will yield in however many years before you actually start to gain some equity in the house. So it's not a one-size-fit-all.
Right.
If you want to take on the idea of being a homeowner, that's one thing, but people say that when you're renting, that's the most you're going to pay.
Right.
But if you own a home, that mortgage is the least you're going to pay because you can't anticipate all the other things that are going to happen that might cause
True.
you know what I mean? So you have to sort of weigh what works best for you, what's convenient for you. So yeah, home ownership is the quickest way to get to generational wealth, but it's also there's some barriers that they put up so that you can't get there. Even though, what's the mortgage rate right now?
About 6.25
Oh my
or so, and that's like on the lower side. So we have a lot to figure out, and I'm happy to do this with the Guap community because it truly is going to be a journey, and I'm excited to see what we accomplish. It's going to take faith, it's going to take effort, but I believe that this is the start of it. So I'm excited that I am a part of a community that will empower me to meet a goal that feels slightly impossible, but I know it's possible. So thank you for this conversation.
You're welcome.
I'm looking forward to more. I'm looking forward to more Guap talks. I'm looking forward to more Guap topics on conversations about building wealth in different ways that we haven't explored. So, so excited to have you all listening in. Thank you for being with us. Family, remember, money doesn't have to be scary. When you have a community that has your back, we finally have a place to grow. I'm Kia Scott. This is the Guapify podcast, and I will see you inside the network. This has been an incredible conversation. CJ, thank you for sharing your heart and your passion with us. Family, remember, money doesn't have to be scary when you have a community that has your back. And we finally have a place to grow together. So I am Sakia Scott. This is the Guapify podcast, and I'll see you inside the network.